All right, ready to jump in to the deep end of the pool?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Right? BFS, Business Format System, deep dive training. Now, the first thing that I'd like to spend a little time talking about is my credentials to teach this. I probably don't necessarily need to share my credentials. I feel that everyone here probably has a good idea of who I am, but I think it bears repeating. Some of you may not know exactly what I have done, okay? In fact, I very specifically am wearing what shirt? Are you paying attention? Yeah, it's a BBC 50. Okay. I have hit 50 recruits in my base shop multiple times. In fact, I hit 50 recruits in my base shop before I was even an SMD. I was Jody Humphrey's #1 senior associate in his entire hierarchy. That's Hubert Humphrey's son, the founder of the company, right? They flew me down to the home office. They used to do something really cool. I really wish they would do it still. They would have every week, they would have like a broadcast. Every office had like a Dish Network thing, and we would tune into the broadcast. And they still have a recording studio at the home office. I don't know if you knew that or not. And so, they would fly you in, and they would have a show that would feature you, and usually like maybe 2 other people that are, kicking butt and taking names, right? And they flew me in as a senior associate for that. So I know how to build a business, right? I'm making a little bit of money at this thing, right? I'm very close to the $250,000 ring. And here's what's exciting. You guys do understand in our business, it's not quite the time gap is not as large as it used to be because the way that it works now. But you know that when you get paid, you understand like that, the 230,000, right? That's what I've already been paid, but there's a bunch of it still coming down the pipeline, right? We're just waiting for it to hit, right? That's our business, right? So it's almost inevitable. That's kind of how our business works, right? So, if you're close to your watch, if you're close to the ring, but the point is that I have been privileged to promote. Well, you can kind of look on that wall right there, right? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 SMDs. And to be honest, that's the SMDs that are still active and rocking and rolling in the business. There are literally 1, 2, 3 others that are gone. And guess what? The day's going to come when your team's so big that you have SMDs quit on you too, right? And you know what? Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. All right. So
That's good.
all right. So that's my credentials to teach this. I was taught directly by Rich Thawley, one of the co-founders of the company, from the beginning, how to build this business. I'm direct to Jeff Levitan, like the MVP of all time. Well, other than Schwan Win, right? Like there's nobody bigger than Jeff other than Schwan, right? So I know how to build this business. It's something that I've got the ability to do. All right. It's definitely not my ability to spell. So if and when you see, even with spell check, I notice if it's all capitals, it doesn't spell check. And I do a lot of all capitals. So probably going to be some, spelling errors. My S's, just keep it to yourself. All right. So today's training it's not about teaching you something new as much as it's teaching you what you should have been doing all along. And probably even more important than that, if you are a trainer or you're working on becoming a trainer, it's also how to teach what should be taught. You see, there's a lot of things that you can do that will impress people, inspire people, but it might be personality driven. That doesn't help you build your business. It'll help you make money. Okay. It'll help you recruit. But it won't help you build. Personality driven approaches will only, there, it'll be a thin veneer, right? You'll notice there's not a lot of depth going down in the organization if it's personality driven, if it's not systematic, if you're not using these things that I'm teaching. Some of you are literally, I'm afraid, I fear, and I'm not blaming you, all right? So I'm not going to whoop up on anyone too hard today. I'm not blaming you too much. A lot of it is just because our team is so big. When a team is so big, I can't teach everybody. I can't, I made some pretty good training videos, but I can't make you go teach them, right? I can't make you go watch them. This group here and making this training video is an attempt to get us all closer. We need to be a CEO team. The way we're going to be a CEO team is we need to stick to the system, right? Don't major on the minors. I think one of the big mistakes people make is they get focused on these things that really don't do much to help you in your business. You know, one of the things that I have learned, and I'm still not very good at it, okay, is hiring an assistant, right? I mean, now Mike might disagree. He probably thinks that I give him plenty of work. I don't give him enough to do. I do too much stuff myself. Same thing with Keisha, right? I probably don't give her enough things to do. I should be doing less of it myself, right? What my strengths, Jeff always explains it this way, right? Why would your skill set in this business is worth hundreds of dollars an hour. Why would you do, $20 an hour work? You should hire someone to do the $20 an hour work, and you get out there and do what builds a business, right? So here's the bottom line. If it's not in the business format system, it's not worth focusing on. If you find that you're spending too much time doing this, that, or the other, and it's not on any of these slides that I talk about today, it is probably something you shouldn't be focusing on. So the business format system. What is the business format system? Again, see, some of you are going to probably look at this. Wait a minute. That looks an awful lot like the training classes that we teach at the BPMs every week. Yes, it does. Because what am I teaching you on? We're not going to come up with another extra 2 steps. Hey, Frank's got a couple more steps to add to the business format system, right? Frank's got a couple more filters he wants to throw in to the 8 speed filters. And let me tell you something. Now, look, I do believe in change. All right. I understand that we're in a new era. I understand that things are a little different with things being digital, but also understand that the pendulum is swinging back the other way, right? We are starting to come back to our offices. You've got to know how to run this business in a physical office at the same time you're streaming on Zoom. And some of the things that we haven't talked about a lot, we're probably going to be talking about today. Some of you may have no idea how to Mozone. I was at Francisco's office for their opening, and we realized that like nobody knows how to Mozone, right? Because everyone's brand new. They've never been in a physical BPM, right? They just know Mozone is something they start to fall asleep on when someone's talking about it on Zoom. Boy, that's another problem, right? Did you guys see that post I put on? Right? Too many of our people, maybe even you, too many of our people treat the BPM like it's freaking the Disney Channel or something, right? You just show up to be entertained. You know, it blows my mind. I'm not going to say any names. I'm not saying that any of the people that I'm talking about are in the room today, because they may or may not be. But I'm going to tell you, what blows my mind is when I got a BPM and I have an SMD that is their BPM, whether it's the Tuesday night or the Saturday morning, that actually text messages me and says, I won't be at the BPM. And I'm just like, oh, all right. Well, I'm glad you hired me to, run your BPM. Thank goodness you got me working for you. Because whose business is this?
Yours.
Yeah. How could you not be at the BPM? You have 2 BPMs. Your SMD runs 2 BPMs a week, right? Now, I don't care which one you're at, just as long as you're following your SMD's lead. Okay? You got to be at 2 BPMs a week. And like pick up information. There's people that to this day are not sending out an information kit to their guests. You're screwing up. Who, by the way, whose responsibility in the 8-speed filters does it say the 8-speed filters for your SMD? Is that what it says?
No.
Is it called the SMD filters?
No.
See, it's the 8-speed filters. Who's responsible for walking people through these filters?
You.
It's you. If it's your guest, you make sure they get that appointment with your SMD. You make sure that if they ask for a kit, even if they don't ask for a kit, right? Which most of them ask for a kit. Can I just fill you in something? On that digital survey that we do, they all ask for a kit. So you might as well just assume they're asking for a kit, right? What's a digital kit? Who has no idea? Don't be embarrassed. I'm not going to beat up on you. Who has no idea what I mean by an information kit, a digital information kit? Okay, so on the Force website, under the trainers page, under the BPM section, there is a digital information kit. And it's a list of PDF files that you can email to someone. Really good brochures that the company has put together. Remember that people are like water or electricity. They flow down the path of least resistance. Okay? What is the easiest way to look up information this day and age? Particularly. They're all Googling it. So one of the secrets you need to learn is how to make it easier than Google. Do you understand?
Yeah.
How to make it easier than Google. You better email that information kit before their butt even goes home. Before they're even done logging off the BPM, you better have that information kit emailed to them. If you know they're on the BPM and they're your guest, you better email an information kit to them. Because the very next thing they're going to do is they're going to Google it. All right? So the 8 filters are still absolutely critical to the business, in spite of what some knucklehead that ain't even coming close to our production and recruiting tells you. Everyone wants to tell you now that it's a new era, that there's a new way. I want you to understand, the more you realize anyone that's killing it, the new way is just a digital way of doing the old way.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Absolutely.
It's not like they've reinvented the wheel. So prospecting. All right, now let's talk about the top 25 worksheets, because I will tell you that I was struggling with this a little bit. I got it down pat now. We still do a top 25 worksheet. You should still be getting a top 25 worksheet. You're just not doing it on the fast start. Okay? The prospect list now on the fast start is teaching them how to reach out to people for their DGO. You're not creating a list yet. Okay? They've got a list. You know what it's called? Their cell phone. It's called their cell phone, right? All right. But you still want to develop a top 25 list. When do you develop a top 25 list?
ASAP.
After the DGO. Some people have an awesome DGO. Does everyone have an awesome DGO?
No.
Digital grand opening, right? Does everyone have an awesome DGO? No, some people it's kind of right? Although today we're going to teach you about that, because guess whose fault that usually is? The trainer. the trainer. Okay. All right. So top 25 worksheet is still alive. All right. The top 25 worksheet is what we call in prospecting. It's called your natural market, right? It's the people you already know. Another form of prospecting, we're on step 1, prospecting, is something called friendship farming. You want to know how Jeff Levitan gets as many personal recruits as he does? He's always friendship farming. But let me be really clear. Friendship farming does not work unless you are genuinely trying to make a new friend. If you're just looking at people like a number, if you're looking at them like a piece of meat, right? You understand, people see through that, right? There's people on, even though they can't put their finger on it, they can sense the difference between genuine sincerity and flattery. All right, flattery won't get you anywhere. So you know, maybe that's a little bit of, you got to work on yourself, right? Personal development's a big part of this business too. So maybe you got to work, maybe you got to be a little more genuinely interested in other people. Maybe you got to get a chip off your shoulder. All right. Maybe you got to figure out how to like people a little bit more. Maybe you got to figure out how to like certain people a little bit more. Ooh, did I say that? Right? Whoever the other person is, right? Because heaven forbid a D loves an R or an R loves a D, right? Heaven, yeah. You understand what I'm saying? We all bleed red. Every person across the world wants their children to be happy and to be safe and to grow up and be prosperous, right? We are far more alike than we are different.
That's right.
So when you are friendship farming, we teach this thing called FORM, F-O-R-M. F stands for family, O stands for occupation, R stands for recreation, and the M stands for message. Family, we're talking about, you know, now, first of all, you ask if they're married when you see a wedding band on their hand. If you don't see a wedding band on their hand, don't ask. You understand that? There's just some questions you don't ask, right? Brian Regan, one of the funniest jokes, right? He goes, never ask a woman when the baby's due. What baby?
Right.
If you even get a verbal response.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You understand? Some questions you don't ask. Great goodness. You know, are you married? Why do you ask the are you married question, by the way? Because it leads you to the most important question, second most important question. Do you have kids? See, because How to Win Friends and Influence People teaches us that the most important topic to anybody is themselves. Children are an extension of themselves. It's why they love talking about them. And grandkids, right? So that's a great question to be asking if you can get into it, right? Did you grow up around here? Where are you from? Is your family from the area? You come from a big family. O stands for occupation. What do you do for a living? And it's more than just that, right? How long you been doing it? What got you started in that? What'd you do before you were in that? What made you decide to change? By the way, is this sounding familiar to anyone that's been taking a certain class recently? SMDs?
Yeah.
Oh.
R stands for recreation. What do you do for fun? Do you have any hobbies? Do you like any sports? Yeah, I'm going to tell you, you never know what's going to turn somebody on. I remember, some of you probably don't, I think maybe only one or two of you in the room might remember Jean Mueller before she passed away. Jean Mueller was wonderful. She was a great client of mine. Didn't do a whole lot of recruiting, but she was, one of those stalwarts in the office. Somebody that was able to, I mean, she even ended up teaching our insurance class at some point in time. Yeah. So anyhow, what really got her excited in the business was when someone asked her, what do you do for fun? And she was like this the whole mozo. I mean, she was just, kind of sour faced and what's this crap I'm here for? Like that was kind of her thinking. And somebody asked what she does for fun and got her talking about dancing because she loves dancing. She absolutely loves dancing. Right. And so that's what got her fired up. Now, M stands for message. When you're out and about prospecting, friendship farming, the message, first of all, here's a rule, write this down. You only should give the message when they ask for it. An uninvited opinion is not a good thing. Was it a book I was reading? It's kind of interesting. I remember, you know what it was? It's a book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. And he was talking about uninvited opinions. And Sharon Lecter, who's kind of like sort of, I don't know, I would say proctoring the book as you're listening to it on CD, asked, so apply that to social media. Wow. Right? Apply that to social media. So, how many uninvited opinions are out there? Right? And how many times has an uninvited opinion actually changed someone's point of view ever on planet Earth? Almost never. I can't think of ever working, right? So don't talk about the message until they ask for it. Now, how does it sound when they ask for it? Well, you just got done forming them, right? And you're asking them a bunch of questions, all right? Typically, when you ask someone a bunch of questions, and then the next thing that they do, and then you stop or slow down the rate of questions that you're asking. What usually happens next? They're going to ask you a question, right? They almost feel obligated to ask you a question. And you know what question they're going to ask you? They're going to ask you the low-hanging fruit. And what is the low-hanging fruit? What do you do for a living? That is what it sounds like when they ask you for the message. Now you need to make sure you throw out what's called an E-pitch. Okay? It's called an E-pitch. An E-pitch stands for elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is something that, how long do you have to ride in an elevator when you're on an elevator?
About 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, so that's about how long an E-pitch is. That's why I call it elevator pitch. So it's got to be something that's brief and short, and a good E-pitch will always make someone respond with, really? How do you do that? Okay, really, how do you do that? Because when that happens, it's like memorizing your lines in a play. I tell you all the time. I do it, I give my E-pitch, and I like, because here it comes, right? I'll share the e-pitch that I use all the time. All right. And there's plenty of good ones out there. All right. Plenty of good ones out there. There's nothing special about my e-pitch. It's just a short, easy one that works most of the time for most situations. Someone says, well, what do you do? And I tell them, I teach people how to stop getting taken advantage of by the government.
Wow. Wow.
Now, when I just said that, some of you have not ever heard me say that before. I know what just went on in your mind.
How do you do that?
Wait a minute, Frank. How do you do that? Right? That's what you were thinking. If you never heard me say that before, you're like, okay, wait a minute, Frank. I mean, probably maybe something to do with taxes or something, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. And when they ask me, how do you do that? I'm going to respond with, I'm glad you asked. This isn't a good time to really get into those kind of details, but I am doing a webinar on Tuesday. And then I want you to remember this technique. If I will you. Write this down. If I will you. If I send you the link to the webinar, will you make a commitment to show up? If you just say, I'll send you a link, they are far less likely to follow through and show up. But if you say, see, what happens is as human beings, there's psychology. If we obligate, if someone does something nice for us, what do we feel? Obligated to do something nice for them, right? We don't like owing people something. So if I say to them, if I do this for you, will you do this for me? So if I send you the link to the webinar, will you be sure to show up? And guess what I need? If they don't say yes, I don't send them the link. They're not the right person. Remember this about the 8 filters, right? That this is not about, it's not about convincing people. We're not in the convincing business. We're in the sorting business, okay? And that's what a lot of what I'm teaching about today is going to somehow be touching on, right? And so, they just sorted themselves out. That's all.
Frank, one more time. Could you please say your e-pitch?
Yeah. So, someone will say, go ahead. Someone asked me. So,
What do you do for them?
I'm glad you asked. I actually help families stop letting the government take advantage of them.
How do you do that?
Well, I got to be honest, right now is not the best time to get into those details, but I'll tell you what, I got a webinar that I'm doing. It's a very brief webinar on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. I'll tell you what, if I send you the link, will you be there?
Absolutely.
All right. And I'll either get an email or, what number should I text the link to? What email should I email to? That another thing, right? You can ask for someone's number and they'll resist you a little bit. But if you say, what number can I text it to? What email can I send it to? It's an indirect way of asking for their number. They are far more likely to go ahead and give it to you. Friendship borrowing. Man, we are not doing enough of this. So friendship borrowing, we use the acronym STEAM. STEAM, STEAM. The S stands for sales. The T stands for teacher. The E stands for enthusiastic. The A stands for ambitious. And the M stands for money motivated. Now, this is a deep dive, right? I told you this is the deep dive. So I don't want you just going with the shallow version of this, right? The shallow version is when you just start listing off, who do you know in sales? Who do you know it's a teacher? Who do you know is enthusiastic? Tom Hopkins teaches that people respond when you can create a story, when you can create a word picture in somebody's mind. Okay. And so this is how you would, for example, do the whole friendship borrowing. Like if you want to do it like a pro. So what am I going to pick on? Art. When is the last time you bought something and you were really impressed with the process? Like when it was all said and done, you were like, that was actually an enjoyable thing. It wasn't a typical sales experience. When's the last time you had bought something that you really enjoyed the process?
2 weeks ago.
What was it?
My wife's car.
Where did you buy it from?
BMW.
And what was it about that experience that really made you enjoy it?
The details of the conversation, the attention to what I was requesting, and the delivery on what they said they were going to do.
So that was a pretty sharp guy that you were working with. Guy or gal?
This guy,
There's a guy. Do you remember his name?
Steve.
Steve. I'm going to tell you something. I am looking for people just like Steve that pay attention to detail, listen to their customers, work hard on making a solid delivery of what they said they were going to do. Is there any way that you could get me Steve's number? Because I really be interested in offering a position to him.
I would love to.
Wow.
That's how you get Steve's number. See, if I just asked, who do you know in sales? Art might not have even brought Steve up.
Wow.
Very good.
Now, Art, you better go recruit that guy. That's the kind of guy we want.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And he thought about it.
You know, who should we steam? Everybody. The people that say yes to us and the people that say no to us. We should be steaming them. Steam them all. Right? What have you got to lose?
Nothing.
But I'll tell you got a lot to gain. Steam everybody. Go back to whatever list you made once upon a time and start steaming through that list. Again, don't just start rattling out. What do you know in sales? You know, right? Alden.
Yes.
Who has been somebody that you have sat under their teaching or training and they really made the class come alive? Like it wasn't just a boring, typical class. That like you enjoyed the experience of being taught by them. What kind of class or who was the teacher that comes to mind when I bring that up? Not me. Don't think of me.
Thanks, David. Let's see. So one of the people I work with, Tina Williams.
Not Tina Williams either.
Okay, I'm trying to think.
A non-WFG person.
So who taught me? Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I've been learning how to improve my online presence for my business.
Oh, okay.
And I've been working with a couple of different network marketing gurus.
Okay. And who's the guy that you really enjoyed his training?
His name is Matt Morris.
Okay.
And you know, it's more about building you up as a person, as an individual, motivation, that kind of stuff, right? And then teaching you how to sort of, if you already have that kind of skills, maybe teaching you how to translate that to online, because online is a different world, at least for someone like me.
So you're really impressed with him and his teaching and his
style and
training?
all that.
I got to tell you, I would be very interested in chatting with him because we're looking for someone that's got that skill set at our firm. And he sounds like he might be a great fit. Is there any way you can get me in touch with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Be happy to.
See? If I just asked, you know, who do you know as a teacher? He might not even thought of that guy. All right. So create a word picture. It's far more powerful if you narrow it down to a specific individual that comes to their mind. Yes.
Can you give an example from one of the other three?
Which
Those are a
one?
little different.
Which one do you want me to pick?
Ambitious.
Ambitious. So who is it that you know that like everything they touch turns to gold? Like they are always like they're the quintessential entrepreneur. They're good at what they do. They're always working to get to the top. Who you know like that?
Outside of WFG though.
Yeah, outside of
Saw that
WFG.
movie.
Trust me, you know people like that.
Yeah.
You're just not thinking about them. You know why? Because you're scared to talk to them, people.
Oh my God.
Now, money motivated is, I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of a trick question. Because you know who we're really asking for there?
For them.
Them. Hey, who do you know that could use some more money? Well, who's not gonna say me? Right? But again, here's the difference between the rookie and the pro. The rookie, as soon as they say me, you're gonna be like, "Rah!"
Yeah, man, right now.
Right? And the pro is gonna be, I gotta be honest, I gotta apologize. Here I am. I've been your friend for 10 years, and I didn't even think to offer you the opportunity yet. Wow. You know what? I definitely should at least get you in front of my partner. Totally different, right?
Yeah.
The approach contact. Hey, by the way, just curious, just throwing it out there. You understand the slides I just went through? You should have seen them. Maybe is it Jennifer back there? Jessica, I'm sorry, Jessica. Maybe with the exception of Jessica, because she's so new. Well, my point is, with the exception of Jessica, the rest of you have probably seen these slides like umpteen thousands of times. This is not new, is it?
No.
I didn't even create new slides. I literally copy and pasted them right from the class. But are you teaching it like this? This is what you're supposed to be teaching. People are like this. Become a student of human nature. People are quick to jump to a conclusion. They're skeptical. They procrastinate. They set big goals. They're curious. They don't think they can sell. Right? No. All right. The 10 points of human nature. Human nature is never neutral. It's either working for you or it's working against you. Okay? You've got to learn how to put human nature on your side as much as you can. People are quick to jump to a conclusion. Bam. They almost have emotional ADD these days. I think that's got a lot to do with the online stuff and how it, does stuff with our brain. But they've always been quick to jump to a conclusion. Do you know why people are quick to jump to a conclusion, by the way? And when I say quick to jump to a conclusion, I could substitute quick to jump to a no conclusion.
Yes.
Do you know why that is?
Because they don't understand it.
Maybe. Tell you what it really boils down to.
Safety and making no choice, there's making a choice.
That's correct. Mike's a lot closer to the point. Okay. So the bottom line is this. How much commitment does it say how much commitment does it take to say, no, thank you?
No. You don't have to be committed at all.
People are quick to jump to that conclusion. They are like a heat-seeking missile. They're looking for anything that they could jump to that justifies, I don't got to commit. I don't got to come on board. I don't got to change my life. I'm going to just keep things exactly the way they are. In fact, I'm just curious, how guilty are you of doing that? Here you are in the business, and you should know better. And it's just easier for you to say, no, I don't think I want to make contacts today. No, I don't think I'm going to call that person. Nah, I don't want to fit. You know what? I literally just the other day, I almost felt, I'm going to just confess, I'm a human being. Like Some of y'all know what I'm talking about when I say this. When you got your day packed with appointments and somebody cancels, aren't you sometimes like, oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And there was someone that was trying to get into my schedule and they said, I can see you at that time. I threw it out there thinking there's no way they're going to be able to, right? Like I can see you at that time. I was like, all right. But I was almost tempted to not to put that appointment off. But do you understand? Like that's the difference between champions and people that just do mediocre. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, understand, I'm not saying that you got to live, eat, breathe, WFG, nothing else is important, right? No, faith, family, business, right? I'm a big believer in that. But don't, if you have the ability and there's no reasonable reason for you not to go the extra mile other than laziness, why would you not do it? Why would you not do it? People are quick to jump to conclusion because it's easy to say no. They're skeptical. They all suffer from the midi shaft syndrome. I mean, especially, you guys know that there are studies done. Whenever the economy goes bad, scams go on the rise.
They sure
They do.
You understand that? And there's so many creative ways people steal from one another. It's terrible. So they should be skeptical. Crying out loud. There are so many scams out there. Don't take it personal when they're skeptical. In fact, what you'll find, which by the way, you know that the T-type personalities are like the most skeptical personality, right? But that's because they're critical thinkers. And here's the good news about critical thinkers. Here's the good news about skeptics. It means that they've got unanswered questions. And if you thoroughly answer their questions, they will become your greatest fan.
Oh, yes.
Right? That's right. Right? That's how that works. People procrastinate. Man, they will watch a Cubs game before they want to show up to that meeting. They find out there's a Cubs game on at the same time. Oh yeah, I'll go watch that Cubs game. I won't watch that Cubs game. Mike will watch that Cubs game. I won't watch that Cubs game. Oh, they're back to their old habits again? You said no more.
No,
Oh, okay. I thought they were going back to the old Cubby way.
Hey Frank, you know you made Lawrence race today.
Ah!
You just made their day.
White Sox. All right. Everyone sets big goals. Everyone's got big dreams. Everyone inside wants to do big things. And they're curious. People are curious. That is such a human nature thing. You got to learn to work with that. See, here's what happens. Yeah, have you ever been to like a sports event or saw on TV those guys run around with a trench coat on and like, nothing else, right? And they run around and they're like, woo, right? What do they call those people? Flashers, streakers, right? It didn't stop in the 70s, let me tell you. Right? I just saw some dude run across naked on a soccer field.
Wow.
Right? Trust me, he ain't stopped with the 70s. Right? But here's what you got to understand. That's what most of you are doing with WFG. You guys are business flashers. People come in, and you're like, so what is that you're doing? You're like, WFG! And they're like, oh, put it, stop. Right? You got to learn how to be a business flirt. You understand that? That's right. You got to learn. You got to learn how to be a business flirt. You got to be able to be like this.
Whoa. Look at it. Look at it.
Like that? Let me show you a little more. You want to see a little more? Come to the BPM, I'll show you a little more. You come out Tuesday night, I'll show you a little more.
That's it.
Girl.
Just a little rule of 72.
You understand? That's right. Just show them a little bit of that rule of 72.
Hey, Frank, Mark is scarred.
Right? Oh no, Martha ain't scarred. She's seen that leg lots of times. Right? Right? Let's just show that BFS just a little bit. All right. They're curious, man. People are curious. They don't think they can sell,
Yeah, fun.
which is kind of funny. Because when they tell you that
They just sold you.
and you buy it, they just sold it. You understand that? Everybody can sell. All selling is trying to win some over to your point of view, right? It's just trying to share something that you think is important. That's genuine selling. You ever heard someone say, man, they're so good at selling, they could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. Man, that person's not good at selling. Eskimos don't need ice cubes.
You sell a drum.
That person's a con artist. They're not a salesman. I could sell ice cubes to Eskimo. They could freaking chunk one off the wall and put it in their glass. You don't need to sell ice cubes to Eskimos.
My God. He said, "Come on."
That's what she-
A real professional salesperson is someone just helping someone solve a problem.
That's what it is.
That's all it is,
My God.
right? Or sharing something they believe they'll enjoy. Think about it. Now, I guess most folks ain't going out there watching movies, but what's the last movie you went out and seen? Anyone? Anyone been to a movie theater like at all?
I'm too busy beeping.
Right? Hey, you know what? But you got to remember, doing social things helps you recruit,
Oh, okay.
right? Remember that. Remember that. It's still running your business.
Grocery store.
Can I be honest with you guys? You know something I'm super duper excited about
What you said?
is my son being in
Karate.
Taquito.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Mhm.
I'm looking at all these adults, every class that I have not met, and they're there every week.
Wow.
And
Opportunity.
it's like I'm like a kid in a candy store,
Mhm.
All right.
right? Now I'm a relationship builder. I don't just jump in for the throat,
You're not gonna flag.
okay? But I'm getting to know people.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting to know his sensei, right? Really good man. I really like him, right? I'm getting to know people at the school. In fact, one gal who goes to church with us found out that her son goes to karate. So getting a little closer to their family, right? So social activities helps you find new relationships, and that leads to things, right?
So Frank.
Yeah.
So even though we have a warm market approach, what you're teaching now is that you can turn a cold market into a warm.
Well, that's exactly what friendship farming is, right?
Exactly.
Turning strangers into friends.
Yeah.
The friendlier you are, the bigger your business is going to grow.
So I got a question. So with that concept of you making friends there, when do you go in? Because more than likely the first maybe one or two events you go to, they're gonna ask, what do you do? Do you go in then, or do you wait to build more relationship first?
If it's someone that you're going to see again, you build the relationship.
Okay.
If it's someone that you're pretty sure you will not ever see again, you kind of don't have much of a choice. You kind of got to go in and try and get there.
Okay.
But most of these folks are people I'll see again. In fact, at the tournament, I saw one of my clients was there. Oh, by the way, they don't like insurance salespeople. You understand that? Insurance salespeople are like on the evolutionary scale. There's pond scum, amoebas, bacteria, COVID-19, car salesmen, insurance people, right? Politicians are somewhere in there, right? Yeah, you understand that that's because look, the traditional insurance salesperson uses terrible techniques. They shame people into buying stuff. Don't you love your family? Man, someone tries doing that to me, I'll throw them out in their ear. Don't use those techniques, by the way. That's not how you're going to win. Yeah.
I think I'm grateful for you, Frank, for your teaching. When I worked at MetLife years ago, they were talking about the old tactics that people used before I came along. And one of the guys literally thought it was cute to buy a hearse and to drive around the neighborhood selling life insurance policies. I'm not kidding. So when we tell
Isn't that so
people stop
slimy?
doing that, because
Isn't that
people
just
don't
disgusting?
as an insurance salesperson, well, we're not making that up. For us that's been in the industry, we're telling you this is very true. Because this guy, and he thought it was cute. I'm looking at him like, you're freaking me out. I didn't say that, but I'm thinking, I'm 25 years old at MetLife, and this idiot bought a hearse and was driving around the neighborhood. So I'm selling life insurance.
What an imbecile.
But that's why people don't like insurance.
Yeah, thank you for that very vivid and perfect example of how moronic insurance people can be.
That's why it's
Right?
against the law to sell insurance in the hospital.
Oh wow,
Yeah, it's like that's
wow, that's deep. I didn't know.
You don't
See-
really want to-
they would like to be their own boss and they would like to have a business of their own, but they all doubt that they ever could or would. Deep down inside, they want to call their own shots. They don't want to answer to someone else. They want to have freedom. They want to be running their own show. That's human nature, man. Another word for that: liberty, freedom. That's what people want. So just understand that before you even attempt to contact somebody, right? When you do the approach contact, understand that, hey, this is what you're up against. All right. Now I'm just going to touch on, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on different approach contact scripts, but I do want to recognize this is one of the adjustments to the digital world. Okay. Now, we call this the three-way text with a trainer. Okay. My advice to each and every one of you that are training somebody. In fact, this is very important. How you do a thing is how you do anything. You heard that? Right? You should be taking the extra time to prepare your business. Okay? And here's what that means. It means that you have this already. You took the time. This is, it's on the Fast Start PowerPoint. There's various places to get it. You take the time to put this in your cell phone and just text it to yourself. And so you've got the template so that as soon as you're working with someone, you can now take that and shoot it off to them, right? Grace, you've seen me do this. I'm not teaching anything I don't do. So now here's what I do want to tell you. Well, we'll touch on that more a little bit later. I just want you to realize this is one of those ways you can approach and contact someone. We're going to spend a little more time when I go into how do you fast start somebody. We'll talk more about this then. Here's another one that's kind of new. I think this could potentially be one of the most powerful tools you have in your arsenal right now. And I'm not saying this because I got like a big ego because, I might have a big ego, but I'm not saying it because I got one. Yeah, Mike.
Couldn't find that video under the trainer video page.
It's not under the trainer video page. Let me tell you where it is. Let me tell you where it is so you know. Okay. It is under new recruit training because that's who should be using it mostly, right? New recruits. So if you go to the new recruit training, it's the very first video. It doesn't actually have a title screen, but if you look close, if you mouse over it, you'll see 5-minute BPM.
And also, if you subscribe to your YouTube channel, it will.
It's also on there. Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. All right. So this is a really powerful video, and not because the content is like all that in a bag of chips. I mean, it's decent. I like how Francisco put it. He goes, "It's classic Frank." Yeah, it is. Right? It is. It's very classic Frank. But here's the difference. Okay. We don't, we're close to Jeff Levitan. But how many of us get to actually run an appointment with Jeff Levitan? It's not going to happen. Jeff barely has enough time for his own base, right? I might be able to get an appointment with him, but I'm not going to get an appointment with him. You understand what I'm saying? He's going to be like, Frank, you know how to run appointments. Why do you need me? Right? But you've got me.
Mhm.
You might think, but I got me. I could just make my own video. No, it's not the same. You understand? It's just not the same. Right? Can I tell you something? Robert King is so good at this. This is one of his secrets. Robert, is it okay if I tell when you let it out? It's all right. You know why it's okay to tell a secret? Because half the folks in the room ain't even going to listen to the darn thing. They ain't even going to do it. I'm going to tell them right now, and it's going to go. And all they're thinking about is that McDonald's cheeseburger at 2:00. He is so good at leveraging me. Right? That's a powerful part of the business. Leveraging your leader. I leverage Jeff Huggins all the time. Yes.
I actually had one of my warm market people ask me why was I promoting Tina so much, and I said
because she's awesome.
I said, well, I'm new to the business. I'm learning from her, and she's doing great things.
I would say that's a pretty good response, right? But whether I'm new in the business or not, I would say because she's a high 6-figure earner who's killing it, and I want to learn how to do that. That's probably more appropriate, right?
And I'm not saying this for you, but there are some times people are selfish and self-centered, and they've leveraged themselves so much.
I know.
The warm market looks and thinks, well, why are you leveraging? Why are you not again leveraging you?
Oh, let's get even more specific.
Yeah.
Most people that are doing that have completely screwed their warm market.
Yep.
Like they have taken their warm market and they have taken it and they have freaking crumpled it up and just threw it in the garbage because seriously, like don't take me wrong. And I don't want to offend anybody, but seriously, even if you're an SMD, I mean, who are you in the business? Really? At this stage of the game, who are you in the business? Right? So the bottom line is leverage your leadership. It can't be you, right?
Not in your market.
And look, here's the beautiful thing you have right now. I am not so big in the business yet, but it's coming. Golly, I was almost about to shed a little tear. I'm serious. Dominic Cavalieri, who just recently passed away, one of my good friends from the business, and he just was knocked out of the business from a heart attack and a stroke and bad health. But he would say, Frank, I can't wait for you to earn your ring. I know you're going to be big at this thing. I can't wait to come along for the ride. Right. And I wish he was able to see all of that coming true like it is, and so, I'm not so big in the business yet that you can't leverage me. So why are you not doing that? You got to understand something. I know that sometimes we're all in different base shops, and sometimes there's this thinking that if I don't go directly through my SMD first, that I'm almost committing a little treason. And no, it's not like that. First of all, ask your SMD and they'll be like, yeah, definitely, all day long, right? You should use me. You should use me when you send this video out. Here's what's powerful about this video. You don't even need a personal appointment with me. You just say, hey, listen, I could get you in front of this guy. That's it. That's all you got to say. That is so powerful when you say, I could get you in front of this guy.
When you say in front of you, do you mean at a BPM?
I don't care what.
All right.
You got that's one way.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
Right?
you.
But you could also get in front of me personally, right? You can get a one-on-one. You can get him in front of me. You can check my schedule and see what I got. But you understand, if my schedule's booked for the next week and a half, get him to a BPM.
Yeah, you don't
Right?
wanna wait too long.
Yeah. Yes.
I find that our warm market has greater respect for us when we do leverage.
Yeah,
it.
of course.
It's not about you
Right.
and their mind.
It's the same thing we teach all the time. It's about trust and credibility.
Can't be
Right?
told.
All right. Hey, guess what? This is a classic, but this is still great. Just what you got to understand isn't necessarily the memorizing of the words, okay? It's called the Opportunity Company Script. It's been part of the business format system manual since the day I joined the company and still is. And basically, just understand the principle and the flow. All right. It's not about memorizing these words. Hey, I'm really excited about this company for a lot of reasons. Can I tell you what this really is? What you're doing is you are sharing your testimony of WFG. That's what this is. Really, if I were to put it in a nutshell, that's what it is. That's what attracts people, not some script, right? I'm very excited about this company for a lot of reasons, but one of the most important to me is the company knows how to treat people right. Our parent company has a philosophy: respect people, make money, have fun. They create an atmosphere of encouragement that's positive, and they believe in you. They appreciate the people that they're in business with. They recognize them for their efforts, and they spend a lot of their time trying to make others feel good about themselves and their business, and it's a lot of fun. Again, I'm not saying memorize those words. Understand the principle and the flow. Use your words. It's not so much about a script. Use your words, but this is, you're sharing these thoughts, right? Hey, we're doing something that's fabulous for people. It makes me feel great to know that I'm helping people, that I really get a chance to make a difference in people's lives. And it's not just a little thing that we do. We're teaching people what they need to do in order to manage their own financial futures. And when you can believe in what you do and know that it's right and know that it's helping people, you can get excited about it. You can get fired up about it. This has also given me a shot to be able to build a business of my own, call my own shots, to know that I'm in the driver's seat and I'm controlling my own destiny. And it's a great feeling. It's given me a chance to start getting out of, you understand, it says to get out of debt. Maybe you're not out of debt yet. You could say to start getting out of debt, right? To start saving money and just have peace of mind about my future. It's also given me a chance to do things for my family I've always wanted to do, to know where we're headed. It's great to feel that I am in charge of my life and I don't have to worry about politics or anyone holding me back. And the power question. How about you? Right?
Yeah.
What about you? That's what wins people over to look at the business. It's not I hope you got the point, right? It's not the script that does it. It's what's coming from your heart. Man, I love what this company does. I love what they stand for. I love the difference that they make. I'm so excited.
Gotta be personal, Frank.
Tina, I imagine you're okay with me sharing this because you share it publicly all the time. I love looking at Tina's Betterment account. I'm going to tell you, I do. I love it, love it, love it. I love that she has more money saved in her emergency fund than most people make all freaking year. That's what this company did. That's what this business did. I think you show, that's how you're recruiting people, isn't it? You're showing them a paycheck, you're showing Betterment account. Man, that's freaking odd. Like, that's so cool. Right? And I'm gonna tell you what, the money does talk. Right? Can I let you a little secret? That's what made Rich Stolle huge. He used to do exactly what Tina did. He wouldn't go buy the fancy car. He was driving around an old rickety, like when I say rickety Mercedes, I mean like a rickety Mercedes. Like just because it's Mercedes, nothing impressive about the car he was driving around. It was half falling apart, rusty. He would literally park it down the street so people wouldn't know it was his car, right? But he would show people how much money he saved. He would show people how much money he saved. That's impressive.